in by the Ocean Group this year could not pass the review, while others indicated that certain television series have been canceled and could not be aired as scheduled. Moreover, there were reports of halted investment in variety shows and allegations of box office fraud that plunged the cinema chain into a crisis of trust, encompassing a wide array of issues. As for the stock price, it was in a dismal free fall. Yin Bingqin was left in shock. She had invested over $5 billion, and $3 billion had evaporated by the day's opening. Tang Xiaofei, Zhang Meng, and others were equally bewildered. The stocks that Chen Xiao had favored were plummeting. Yet after the initial shock, Chen Xiao was instantly elated. Who on earth did this? No son could be so dutiful. He had initially planned to acquire the Ocean Group, and now someone was inadvertently aiding in suppressing the stock price. Jianran, quickly, summon Su Tang. Oh, right away. Lin Yinran hurriedly fetched Su Tang to the chairman's office. Boss, what is it? Chen Xiao inquired. Has Jingtian Holdings liquidated its assets? We are in the process of liquidating. The current market value is over 130 billion, hence it is somewhat slow. Chen Xiao nodded, understanding that Su Tang meant Jingtian Holdings had made a profit exceeding 30 billion. After repaying the 50 billion in financing and associated fees, Chen Xiao would still retain over 80 billion. Additionally, with the 20 stake in the Ocean Group valued at nearly 10 billion, along with his fixed assets such as land, properties, and vehicles, Chen Xiao's net worth approached 200 billion. However, his liquid assets were limited, making it challenging to undertake any significant ventures. Yet unexpectedly, a relative was inadvertently aiding in the suppression of the Ocean Group stock. Chen Xiao contemplated, realizing that the stock price of the Ocean Group was still not low enough. He then retrieved his phone, locating the internal news group established during the previous press conference, and sent out a message. Chapter 232. I wish to spend time alone with my senior in the wake of the recent press conference held by Tangxiao Capital. Reporters had anticipated that no further information would surface in this group. However, to their astonishment, news emerged unexpectedly today. These professionals, whether possessing genuine leads or fabricating stories from thin air, managed to concoct a press release. With the intelligence support from my second aunt, various pieces of information began to disseminate across numerous websites. The Ocean Group is facing a crisis, with major shareholders neglecting to rescue the company while attempting to elevate new talent. The entertainment industry's hidden rules unveiled as female stars ascend by aligning with capital moguls. The precarious Ocean Group suffers yet another severe blow, with crises potentially stemming from within. Chen Xiao observed the news with amusement. Not only had he achieved his objectives, but he also received numerous red envelopes from reporters. This was simply extraordinary. Shi Zhongfu, who had just emerged from a meeting with Tong Yu, was equally astonished upon receiving the news. He pointed to the newly surfaced articles and asked, "Did you orchestrate this?" Tong Yu shook her head. "No, it wasn't me." Shi Zhongfu, perplexed, wondered if there was someone else handling public relations for Mr. Wang. Meanwhile, far away in Yindu, Wang Ju smiled knowingly as he witnessed the Ocean Group's stock plummet. Indeed, Shi Zhongfu is quite adept at his tasks. In such a short span, he has manipulated public opinion to this extent. Impressive. I wonder what Chen Xiao plans to do to save the Ocean Group. He truly underestimates the gravity of the situation. As Chen Xiao paced excitedly in his office, watching the stock prices of the Ocean Group, he was confident that the company would not succumb to failure and would continue to thrive a decade hence. Each 10% drop represented a saving of billions for him. Truly, one could not be more filial than this. Was it Shi Zhongfu, or perhaps his backers? Regardless of who it was, gratitude was in order. This was merely the first day of the opponent's counteraction, and Chen Xiao felt no urgency, holding cash in hand. Everything in the company was proceeding smoothly. The Binhuiyuan project was under rapid construction, and all stall projects had been reignited. The construction team had committed to completing the remaining work within a month. The security installation for the mountain villas was also being arranged concurrently. After meandering around the mountains without much to do, Chen Xiao decided to return to school. Upon arriving at the dormitory, he was taken aback. Wait, didn't you say there would be a power outage soon? How has it been so many days, and there is still electricity? At this mention, Xiao Ji became incensed. Ever since the announcement of a looming power cut, his two roommates had vanished. He had endured 3 days without electricity. Ultimately, he could no longer bear it, and with no means to borrow money from his junior, he begrudgingly dialed Ma Yijia's number. After a night of relentless effort at the Backstreet Hotel, Xiao Ji managed to procure 100 yuan for the electricity bill. He promptly restored power to the dormitory and resumed his marathon gaming sessions. Xiao Zi, are you doing this on purpose? Chen Xiao retrieved a cigarette. lit it for himself without offering one to his companion, and settled into a chair, inquiring what was intentional. Although Xiao Ji had the means to pay his electricity bill, he lacked the funds for cigarettes. The ashtray was filled with stubs, each having burned down to the filter. He swallowed hard and said, "Cough, Brother Xiao. May I have a cigarette?" Chun Xiao smiled, finally tossing a cigarette his way before placing the pack on his desk, deliberately revealing its full contents of pristine filters. Xiao Ji had intended to express his irritation, but restrained himself, knowing he would need cigarettes for the afternoon. "Brother Xiao, shall we play a game together?" With little else to occupy his time, Chun Xiao agreed to indulge in a few rounds with Xiao Ji. The two spent a delightful afternoon immersed in gaming, during which Xiao Ji managed to empty Chun Xiao's pack of cigarettes. As the final game concluded, Chun Xiao shut down his computer and declared, "You can continue playing. I'm off to eat." Xiao Ji promptly replied, "I'll join you." Chun Xiao paused, perplexed. "Do you even have money for food?" "Of course. Even without money, I must survive." Xiao Ji retorted. "Cough, Brother Xiao. Could you front me some cash? My father will send money next month, and I'll pay you back." Chun Xiao, speechless, observed Xiao Ji's ravenous state, his eyes practically gleaming with hunger, which was quite distressing. "Let us go then." "All right," Xiao Ji exclaimed, surprisingly quick to abandon the ongoing game. He hurriedly donned his clothes and shoes, following Chun Xiao downstairs to eat. At times, Chun Xiao pondered what drove this fellow to live in such a state of hunger, merely to maintain an appearance of affluence in front of others, particularly in the presence of women. They ordered 2 servings of rice bowls and sat down, with Xiao Ji devouring his meal as though he hadn't eaten in days. By the time Chun Xiao had finished a third of his meal, Xiao Ji had already polished off his. He even managed to crack the disposable food container in his eagerness. "Goodness," Chun Xiao thought, feeling enlightened. "Are you full now?" Xiao Ji patted his stomach. "Not quite." Chun Xiao produced 10 yuan, saying, "Go buy another bowl." Xiao Ji hesitated. "Could I save it for tomorrow?" Chun Xiao replied, "What a life you're leading. Dressed in clothes worth 2,000, yet unable to afford a meal?" Unfazed, Xiao Ji began imparting his wisdom. "Brother Xiao, you don't understand. Good steel must be used for the blade. A man relies on his attire as a horse on its saddle." Suddenly, Xiao Ji exclaimed, "Whoa, a beautiful girl." Chun Xiao turned to see a familiar face entering through the door. Upon closer inspection, it was Zheng Enki. Xiao Ji gasped, "Wow, a campus star?" Chun Xiao, unimpressed, retorted, "And what of it? Can you eat fame?" Xiao Ji hurriedly adjusted his attire, straightened his back, and attempted to display his charm in hopes of attracting Zheng Enki's attention. To his astonishment, she indeed glanced in their direction and, turning her steps, approached them. Xiao Ji's heart raced, and he began to feel anxious. "Oh my, Xiao Zi, she is coming over here." Chun Xiao remained unfazed. "Calm down. You're about to drool into my food." What left Xiao Ji utterly breathless was when Zheng Enki halted before him. "Hello, senior." Xiao Ji extended his hand stiffly and greeted, "You hello?" However, it was evident that Zheng Enki's words were not directed at him. Chun Xiao looked up and inquired, "Do you have any tissues?" "Oh, yes." Zheng Enki promptly pulled out a tissue and handed it over. Xiao Ji was utterly speechless. He could not comprehend how a campus celebrity was entangled with Chun Xiao. Chun Xiao set down his chopsticks, took the tissue to wipe his mouth, and asked, "What a coincidence. Are you here to eat?" "Yes, I just finished. We're not having military training today, since it's a holiday." Chun Xiao nodded, noting that this girl, as lovely and charming as a neighbor's daughter, had already tanned several shades darker. "Senior, I would like to visit the library, but I don't know how to get a library card." Xiao Ji volunteered, "I can help." Zheng Enki smiled, but remained silent, continuing to gaze at Chun Xiao. "All right, it's a good opportunity to digest. Let us go." Zheng Enki immediately beamed. Thank you, senior." Upon exiting the cafeteria, Zheng Enki noticed another boy following and turned to say, "Excuse me, senior, do you have something to attend to?" Xiao Ji shrugged, "Not at all. I'm just going to the library as well. My greatest passion is reading." Zheng Enki candidly stated, "But I only want to go to the library with Senior Chun Xiao. Just the two of us." Xiao Ji felt perplexed, unable to understand why his efforts had yielded no sharpness. Was it his fashion sense? Or had he lost his charm? Chun Xiao chuckled, "You should go back to gaming." "Huh? What game?" Xiao Ji responded, "I'm going to draw." Before the beauty, Xiao Ji still couldn't shake off his burdens. Chun Xiao mused, "You probably don't even remember how to hold a paintbrush." Nevertheless, he ignored him as they both strolled along the tree-lined path towards the library. "Aren't you participating in a variety show? How do you have time for military training?" Zheng Enki asked, somewhat surprised. The terms variety show and celebrity carried an air of grandeur among ordinary students, yet they felt quite commonplace coming from her senior. Is it true that someone representing the students can be so self-assured? Or is he simply so exceptional that he can overlook these things? Oh, I was supposed to go, but the funding for the Happy Girls program encountered some issues and was halted. Chun Xiao paused, recalling that such an incident had not occurred in his previous life. Which company is funding Happy Girls? Zhang Enki asked, surprised. Dayong Film and Television Company. Chun Xiao was momentarily stunned. It was indeed the company he held shares in. It appeared that after Shi Zhongfu and his associates intervened, certain aspects of the original trajectory had been altered. Possessing hidden information, Chun Xiao was unconcerned about stirring any proverbial butterfly wings. Regardless of how the world transformed, he would continue to earn his keep. Oh, that company. Senior. Do you know about it? Zhang Enki inquired curiously. I've heard of it, but I'm not too familiar with the specifics. Chun Xiao replied nonchalantly. In truth, he was speaking the truth, although he had become the largest shareholder of Dayong Group. He had yet to fulfill his acquisition goals and had not closely monitored the group's internal operations. Oh, this response aligns more closely with Zhang Enki's psychological expectations. It is entirely normal for a typical university student to be unaware of such matters. After pondering for a moment, Chun Xiao, with a hint of curiosity, inquired, You are so beautiful and a campus star. Surely you have many admirers, right? Zhang Enki's cheeks flushed slightly as she nodded, affirming that there were indeed a few. Chun Xiao pressed further. Are there any who are more mature? Zhang Enki paused, her eyes wide with surprise. How do you know? Recently, there had indeed been an older gentleman. Why do you ask? Chun Xiao replied with a smile. It's a secret. Zhang Enki rolled her eyes. Then I won't tell you either. No matter. I already have my answer, Chun Xiao stated confidently. As the two continued their conversation, they soon arrived at the library. After assisting her in obtaining a library card and explaining the borrowing process, Chun Xiao took his leave. The recent suspension of the Happy Girl singing competition revealed the considerable influence of the individuals behind Shi Zhongfu. However, this situation presented no challenges for Chun Xiao, only advantages. Under the relentless pressure from various powerful figures, the upper management of the Ocean Group was nearing a state of panic. They had made multiple attempts to contact the major shareholders, only to be rebuffed by Tung Xiao Capital. Confused, they wondered why the company had suddenly plummeted into despair when they had committed no wrongdoing. They could never have imagined that invisible forces were clashing, causing collateral damage to the mortals below. At Shi Zhongfu's residence, he was speaking respectfully on the phone. Yes, Mr. Wang, in recent days, the value of the Ocean Group stocks in Chun Xiao's hands has plummeted by at least several billion. Indeed, such a significant loss will undoubtedly cause him great distress for quite some time. Yes, I'm working on it, trying to create some unforeseen incidents. All right, goodbye, Mr. Wang. After the call ended, Shi Zhongfu gently placed the receiver down. After a brief moment of contemplation, he turned to his associate and asked, Zhuzi, how does your uncle treat you? A stout man replied, Uncle, that goes without saying. The house I live in was constructed by you, and my sister's child was also raised with your assistance. I owe you a great debt of gratitude, so just let me know if you need anything. Excellent. You work in demolition at Tian Laoba's illegal mine, correct? Zhuzi nodded. Yes, I've been doing this for over a decade. Shi Zhongfu nodded. This time, we won't use detonators. Instead, we'll employ methane gas canisters placed beneath the manhole cover, waiting for someone to approach. Zhuzi was taken aback. Uncle, why use methane? Shi Zhongfu smiled. After the explosion, it will resemble a methane explosion from the sewer. Ordinary people will find it hard to trace. Zhuzi contemplated for a moment and replied, Understood, Uncle. Just tell me where to act. A cruel smile crept across Shi Zhongfu's lips. Anywhere within the vicinity of Jinning University to Binhu Yayuan will do. The following day, no one noticed the unfamiliar men loitering around Jinning University. Their gazes were either on the long legs of students or fixated on the manhole covers. In the dormitory, Chun Xiao awoke and, upon reaching for his phone, sprang out of bed. Damn it, he shouted, startling his roommates, Xiao Ji and Liu Xin, who were still asleep. Liu Xin, with his unruly hair, exclaimed, Are you dreaming of being chased by a dog? Chun Xiao ignored him, his attention entirely focused on the screen of his mobile device. Xiao Ji, perhaps still in slumber, rolled over on his single sofa and continued to sleep. Liu Xin scratched his head and decided to rise and freshen up. Only then did Chun Xiao divert his gaze from his phone. The reason for his agitation stemmed from receiving an astonishing hidden message. On September 23rd and 24th, the average daily increase in the domestic steel industry is 6 percentage points. This simple statement held a value for Chun Xiao that was comparable to the strategic adjustments made by Atlantic Capital Group last time. He conducted a brief inquiry and discovered that there were currently 46 listed companies in the domestic steel sector, implying that Chun Xiao could simultaneously invest in 46 stocks. Over 2 days, he could potentially reap profits exceeding 10 percentage points. With 5 trading days remaining until the 23rd, Chun Xiao was determined to make a significant move. With this thought in mind, he called Su Tang. Hello. All traders are to cancel their leave and must arrive at the company by 9 o'clock today. Su Tang, sensing a major market shift, immediately perked up. Understood, boss. After hanging up, Chun Xiao proceeded to freshen up. Xiao Ji, eyes still closed, mumbled. What is all the noise this early? Are we playing games at 9? Chun Xiao replied. Yes, we're playing games. You can sleep a bit longer. All right. Wake me up at 9. Sure. After completing his morning routine, Chun Xiao headed downstairs. Although Xiao Ji had only gone to bed at 3 the previous night, the mention of games made him unable to sleep any longer. Tossing and turning for a while, he decided to get up. Damn, I'll warm up first. Then I'll crush you amateurs. However, all he received in response was the empty dormitory, devoid of anyone else as presence. Chapter 234. The crisis discovered by Zhang Enki upon descending. Chun Xiao was immediately greeted by a foul odor. What on earth? Who is digging through dung? The dormitory supervisor, having received numerous benefits from Chun Xiao, eagerly responded to his inquiry. Someone came to inspect the sewage and has opened several manhole covers. Chun Xiao frowned. If this continued, there would be no point in staying in the dormitory. He wondered how long it would take for the stench to dissipate. After exiting, he summoned a bodyguard and instructed, have these people expedite their work and leave immediately. Yes, boss. After giving his orders, Chun Xiao entered his phaeton and drove toward the company. After a brief moment of ventilation, personnel from the school's engineering department arrived. They shouted at the workers engaged in the sewer work. Which unit are you from? A worker. Stepping down from the vacuum truck, handed a thick envelope to the engineering staff. Bro, no need to shout. We're just here for some oil, you understand. The engineering personnel paused. Oil? The term oil referred to gutter oil. The staff shook the envelope, opened a corner, and remarked, if you're looking for oil, go elsewhere. Anywhere, but near this dormitory. The worker, taken aback, chose not to argue, responding, all right, we'll find another location. At least they hadn't been expelled from the school. So the money spent wasn't entirely wasted. Hurry up, the supervisor will come and check soon. Move quickly. Understood. Brothers, let us gather and relocate to the Tongxiao Capital Office building. Chun Xiao did not engage in morning exercises today and entered the company just before 8. However, many traders had already arrived. The security department, having received notifications, initiated a lockdown above the trading floor. Currently, access is strictly regulated. In the chairman's office, Lin Yanyu meticulously arranged a lavish breakfast before Chun Xiao. Lin Yanran poured a glass of milk and proceeded to peel a hard-boiled egg. Su Tang stood by with a folder in her arms. As Chun Xiao savored his breakfast, he instructed, have the intelligence department gather the latest market information on the steel industry, with a particular focus on identifying the most promising steel enterprises. Su Tang inquired, is there a specific scope? No, this time we're covering the entire industry. Understood, boss. All right, get to work. Having assigned the preliminary tasks, Chun Xiao concentrated on his breakfast. The Lin sisters quietly engaged in their own activities, aware that they must not disturb Chun Xiao when he was deep in thought. The caloric content of Chun Xiao's breakfast was meticulously calculated. Although diverse in variety, each portion was modest. Once he finished his meal, Chun Xiao wiped his mouth and approached the floor-to-ceiling windows. The sounds of his sisters tidying the dining table were soft and subtle. Gazing at the morning lake, Chun Xiao pondered, if he could perfectly seize this market wave, combined with the assistance of Shi Zhongfu and his allies, it should be feasible to comprehensively acquire Daeon Group. Truly, when fortune smiles upon someone, even adversaries come to their aid. Who else could there be? It's a struggle even to contemplate soaring high. At 9 in the morning, Chun Xiao appeared in the trading room, where all traders had arrived early, engaging in discussions with intelligence analysts regarding the recent steel market. Upon noticing their boss, they immediately ceased their discussions. Chun Xiao then addressed them. I will keep it brief. This time, we will not focus on individual stocks. We are executing an industry-wide strategy. Thus, everyone may find it demanding, but fortunately, the duration will be short. From the commencement of the collective bidding, we will fully invest in all publicly listed steel company stocks. There will be no upper limit on funds, within the constraints of not significantly inflating stock prices. Invest as much as possible. A wave of astonishment swept through the room at the notion of an industry-wide strategy with no financial cap. The scale of this operation was unprecedented, regardless of potential profits. The required capital surpassed any prior endeavor. Chen Zhao's account currently held $8 billion. He issued a direct order to apply a seven-fold leverage, totaling $56 billion. Shortly thereafter, the morning market entered the collective bidding phase. Steel stocks exhibited no remarkable trends and appeared somewhat sluggish. The trading department comprised 3 teams of over 40 individuals, each responsible for a specific stock. Some skilled traders managed 2 to 3 stocks independently. An industry-wide strategy differed fundamentally from handling individual stocks. During the collective bidding phase alone, over $10 billion was expended, with each stock receiving investments ranging from $10 million to several tens of millions, depending on market conditions. The trading room resonated solely with the crisp sounds of keyboards and mice. This transaction proved to be more arduous than any previous intensive deal, primarily due to the overwhelming number of stocks involved. Once the employees settled into their work, Chen Zhao felt rather superfluous. After surveying the scene, he retreated to his office. Seated at his desk, his thoughts began to wander uncontrollably. Moments later, Chen Zhao couldn't help but chuckle to himself. How absurd it was. Here he was, a veritable financial enthusiast. While others plotted his downfall, he remained preoccupied with accumulating wealth. Of course, this was merely self-deprecating humor. Chen Zhao recognized that his current safety was firmly anchored in his financial empire. Without money, what security could one truly discuss? The world's foremost security experts had arrived, training the employees of the Heishuan Security Company at the Binhai Yuyuan. The number of security personnel participating in this training had exceeded 500. While it remained uncertain how many would pass the assessments, the mere presence of 500 robust individuals made any would-be troublemakers think twice. Wealth provided Chen Zhao with an immense sense of security, yet also brought considerable trouble to Shi Zhongfu. He had initially believed that eliminating Chen Zhao would be a simple task. However, the number of bodyguards surrounding him only increased, leaving him increasingly frustrated and helpless. The underlings he had were incapable of even entering the gates of Tangxiao Capital. At 3 in the afternoon, the midday market closed. A total of over $5 billion had been expended on 46 steel stocks. Thanks to the involvement of Tangxiao Capital, many stocks had begun to slightly rebound. The positions held that morning had already yielded some profit. If the liquidation after the 24th proceeded smoothly, it was highly likely that profits would exceed 12%. After attending to company matters, Chen Zhao returned to school amidst a throng of bodyguards. The testing phase for the food delivery app had reached its final stages, with a formal launch imminent. Chen Zhao visited the Entrepreneurship Center for an inspection. Due to securing venture capital, the food delivery service had become the largest enterprise among the dozen or so companies in the center. Over 10 individuals were already employed there, primarily programmers and graphic designers. Wu Ling, who had been the team leader since her freshman year, now effortlessly managed a team of several people. Satisfied with the smooth progress of the food delivery service, Chen Zhao decided not to linger, opting instead to grab a meal in the cafeteria before heading back to his dormitory. Upon entering, he heard Xiao Ji complaining, "Damn it, didn't you say we start at 9? Where is everyone?" Chen Zhao replied, "I mentioned 9 in the evening." Xiao Ji was taken aback. He had not anticipated this. "Wait, 9 in the evening? I've been waiting all day." Chen Zhao tossed him a cigarette. "Fine, we can start now. Hurry and rally the others." With a cigarette in hand, Xiao Ji felt that any issue could be resolved. He ceased his complaints and immediately dashed to the neighboring dormitory to organize the gathering. Soon, a game commenced. Later that evening, as Chen Zhao was thoroughly enjoying himself, his phone rang unexpectedly. Glancing at the screen, he saw it was a call from Zhang Enki. He chose to ignore it, hanging up to continue playing. However, it wasn't too long before she called again. Chen Zhao frowned and pressed the answer button. Before he could speak, the person opposite him urgently exclaimed, "Senior, I am frightened. There's a group at the bridge head clearing the sewers, and every girl passing by is subjected to their harassment." Chapter 235. So innocent Chen Zhao furrowed his brow. People clearing the sewers, harassing girls at school? Why did it suddenly occur to me that morning when I encountered that group beneath the dormitory? Something felt amiss. The specifics eluded me until now. It was their incongruity with the nature of their work that struck me as odd. In these extraordinary times, Chen Zhao's thoughts spiraled. Regardless of the situation, he instinctively sought to align it with what he knew about Shi Zhongfu and his associates. The possibility began to solidify in his mind. "Wait for me at the art building. I'll be there shortly." "Okay, senior, but please be careful. Goodbye." After hanging up, Chen Xiao donned a jacket and descended the stairs. The game battle was at a critical juncture, and Xiao Ji shouted from behind, "Hey, where are you going? Don't leave, it's dangerous." Chen Xiao stumbled momentarily. "Damn it, shut your mouth." Upon reaching the ground floor, he was accompanied by a dozen bodyguards as they made their way toward the art building. The art building was situated in the heart of the campus, with a single bridge as its only access. As he stood on the opposite shore, Chen Xiao quickly noticed the group at the bridge head engaged in their activities. He promptly signaled for his men to halt. "Mountain Cat, go scout ahead. I sense something is amiss with that group. Be discreet." "Understood." Mountain Cat, clad in casual attire, casually crossed the bridge, passing by the group without drawing attention. Before long, Chen Xiao received a message on his phone. "Situation observed, recording in progress." He closed his phone and instructed, "Let us procure a boat and approach from behind." "Understood." Chen Xiao and his entourage retraced their steps, circling to the opposite side of the art building, where they awaited by the lakeside. After several months of strategic maneuvering, Chen Xiao had garnered significant influence within the school. Every department was meticulously managed by Su Tang's appointed personnel. Securing a boat was a trivial matter. Soon, a rescue boat from the school's logistics department approached. They crossed the lake and landed at the rear of the art building, subsequently regrouping with Mountain Cat. From the footage captured on his phone, it was apparent that this group was certainly not engaged in sewer work. The specifics of their activities remained obscured due to the shaky nature of the recording, compounded by the limitations of mobile video technology in the dim light. However, it was undeniably clear that something was amiss. Chen Xiao contemplated for a moment before dialing the security office. Approximately 10 minutes later, a team of security personnel arrived at the bridge in electric carts. "What are you doing here?" The lead guard, Zhu Zi, hesitated. "We are clearing the sewers. Where are your construction permits? Show them to me." Zhu Zi was momentarily at a loss for words. He had no proper credentials. He returned to the vehicle and retrieved a thick envelope, saying, "Here you go, leader. Take a look." The security guard took it and was immediately taken aback. Good heavens, this must be worth around 10,000 yuan. He hesitated for a while, silently putting everything away. Ahem, having evidence doesn't matter. "How about this? You all leave the campus first, and we can discuss it later." Zhu Zi exclaimed, "Damn it. If you can't get anything done, why are you taking money?" However, seeing that the task was nearly complete, he decided to let it go. "Leader, could you grant us a few minutes to tidy up?" The head of security felt the thick envelope in his pocket and replied, "All right, but make it quick. I'll be back shortly." "Sure thing, we'll hurry." Watching the security guard's electric vehicle fade into the distance, Zhu Zi spat in frustration. "Damn, a bunch of leeches. Hurry up, let us finish this and get out." "Right away, Zhu Zi. Let us gather the other tools first." Zhu Zi nodded, eyeing the massive methane canister secured beneath the manhole cover, testing the detonator signal. Everything seemed fine. They only needed to wait for their target to approach, then press the detonator to unleash an explosive inferno, obliterating everything nearby. At that moment, they could claim 10 million and sail away to a life of leisure. Chen Xiao and his companions observed from the shadows, only emerging when the others had left to get a closer look. Standing at the bridge's edge, Chen Xiao surveyed the surroundings. It was indeed an excellent spot, a blind spot for surveillance. As the clock struck 8, the number of students on the road dwindled. Thunder lifted the manhole cover, and as he shone his flashlight inside, he gasped. "Boss, it's a makeshift explosive device." Chen Xiao furrowed his brow, fully realizing it was aimed at them. "Can be modified?" Thunder nodded confidently. "Piece of cake." Chen Xiao contemplated for a moment and whispered to Thunder, "Let us do this," ensuring he understood completely before leading the team toward the arts building. Seeing Chen Xiao arrive, Zheng Enki let out a sigh of relief, smiling sweetly. "Senior, thank you." Chen Xiao returned the smile, replying, "No need to thank me. I should be thanking you." "Huh?" Zheng Enki looked adorably confused, not grasping Chen Xiao's meaning. He offered no further explanation. "Let us go. I'll walk you back to your dorm." "Okay, let us go." Zheng Enki slung her small bag over her shoulder and followed Chen Xiao. As they stepped outside, she was startled to see a dozen strong men flanking the entrance. "Don't be afraid. These are all my friends from the sports college," Chen Xiao reassured her. "Oh, I see." Zheng Enki felt a surge of safety as she followed Chen Xiao. After descending the stairs, he headed straight for the back of the arts building. "Senior, are we going this way?" Zheng Enki asked, puzzled. Chen Xiao smiled slightly. "No, I'm taking you to the boat." Zheng Enki was taken aback. "There's a boat?" Chen Xiao stepped aboard first, then turned and extended his hand. Zheng Enki placed her delicate, fair hand in his palm, and in an instant, her cheeks flushed crimson. Chen Xiao raised an eyebrow, thinking how tender her skin felt. "Senior, Doesn't this boat need oars? Chen Xiao responded, a bit exasperated. What would an electric boat need oars for? I don't row with oars. I just go with the waves. Meanwhile, after Zhu Zi and the others were sent away, they set down their tools and quietly returned, concealing themselves in a hidden spot to observe the situation at the bridge. The campus was eerily deserted at night. However, within the subterranean pipeline, several figures clad in black flitted about. Indeed, this was the plan to modify the detonator. The following day, a number of unfamiliar individuals surrounded the dormitory where Chen Xiao resided, vigilantly observing the comings and goings of students. Naturally, this situation did not escape the notice of Chen Xiao's professional bodyguards. Yet, they chose to remain discreet, opting to monitor the movements of these individuals from the shadows. Having concealed himself amidst the trees for a full day and night, Zhu Zi was unaware of how many mosquito bites he had sustained. Damn it! Why isn't that rascal Chen Xiao attending class? Zhu Zi, should we call his teacher to report his truancy? Zhu Zi paused, contemplating the suggestion. Good idea, you make the call. But I don't even know who his teacher is. Zhu Zi retorted, exasperated. Then why do you even bother suggesting it? A younger member of the group lamented. Who came up with the idea of ambushing him on the way to school? A timid voice raised a hand nearby. Slap. Zhu Zi smacked him across the face. For heaven's sake, do you think someone like Chen Xiao, worth billions, would attend class like an ordinary student? The group fell silent. The chastised younger member protested, but Zhu Zi, when we first discussed this plan, you were the one praising me as a genius. Zhu Zi delivered another slap. Shut up. Enough with your excuses. We can't just sit here and get bitten to death by mosquitoes in this godforsaken place. At that moment, one of his subordinates reported via the walkie-talkie, Zhu Zi, Chen Xiao is heading to class, moving towards the arts building. Zhu Zi's eyes widened in surprise. What a coincidence. Understood. He then kicked a nearby person, urging everyone to get ready. Prepare the detonator. The younger members responded, yes. Zhu Zi, peering through binoculars, spotted Chen Xiao accompanied by a throng of people approaching the bridge. His heart raced with anticipation as he whispered to himself, hurry, move faster. Damn it, don't delay my fortune. Zhu Zi held the remote tightly, anxiety coursing through him. Chen Xiao walked at a measured pace towards the bridge, while Zhu Zi and his companions held their breath in suspense. However, just as Chen Xiao was mere steps away from the explosion's radius, he unexpectedly received a phone call and turned back. The group felt an overwhelming sense of frustration. Damn it, we were so close. They grumbled, retreating back into the forest, silently awaiting the moment Chen Xiao would again approach the bridge. Meanwhile, Chen Xiao had arrived beneath the dormitory of Xia Yudi, where a charming girl with twin ponytails awaited him eagerly. Chen Xiao, what is it? You're being so mysterious. Chen Xiao, having just played a trick on Zhu Zi and the others, smiled slightly. Don't ask, just come with me. Xia Yudi pouted. All right then. Only Chen Xiao could draw her out from the world of games. No one else, not even her own father, could manage that. He guided Xia Yudi into a phantom's car, which then glided out of the campus. Not far from the entrance, a convoy of bodyguard vehicles awaited them. Chen Xiao's convoy mostly parked outside the school, with only a single Phaeton and a bodyguard's vehicle permitted within the campus. This alone attracted considerable attention from students, who speculated whether it belonged to the principal. Some were aware of the truth, knowing there was a wealthy heir at the school who frequently arrived in lavish vehicles. Although it was merely a Volkswagen, it had nonetheless captivated the goddess of the foreign language college. In the opulent and comfortable rear seat of the Phaeton, Xia Yudi rested her head on Chen Zhao's lap, her hand tenderly caressing his cheek, her eyes brimming with infatuation. Chen Xiao, she mused, how is it that you are so handsome? Chen Xiao, flustered by her forthrightness, found himself at a loss for words. What does being handsome matter? One must possess wealth in the billions, he replied. Xia Yudi shook her head, insisting that being handsome was preferable. Chen Xiao pondered that perhaps this girl did not fully comprehend the significance of wealth, as she seemed engrossed in gaming all day. The vehicle came to a halt at the Tung Xiao Capital building. Upon disembarking, Xia Yudi stretched her arms widely. Ah, the surroundings here are splendid, she exclaimed, then wrapped her arm around Chen Xiao's. Why have you brought me here? Chen Xiao nodded affirmatively. Xia Yudi pressed. What are we doing here? Ugh. Chen Xiao pointed towards the hillside adorned with villas and said, choose one. It's a gift for you. Huh? Xia Yudi exclaimed dramatically. You're gifting me a villa? Chen Xiao nodded again. Indeed. I haven't given you a proper gift yet. I thought a house would be fitting. Xia Yudi stood in stunned silence for a moment before weakly replying, can I refuse? Chen Xiao was at a loss. Why would you want to refuse? Xia Yudi glanced at the villas, overwhelmed by their opulence. I can't accept something so extravagant. Chen Xiao gently pulled her into his embrace. Yudi, there are many things I cannot provide, but I will ensure you live the best life possible. Do you understand what I mean? Xia Yudi nodded. I understand. But there is no need for a villa. Having you by my side is sufficient. Chen Xiao felt warmth in his heart. He thought to himself that it would be shameful for his woman to lack even a villa. Besides, if they were to have a future together, they would need a home of their own. Upon hearing this, Xia Yudi's face flushed crimson, and she playfully hit Chen Xiao's chest. How annoying. Who would bear your children? I'm still just a big bad girl. Chen Xiao lifted Xia Yudi effortlessly. Today, let us see if this is truly genuine. I'll stop it. Put me down. So many people are watching. The bodyguard behind Chen Xiao immediately turned away. The instructor conducting training on the hillside bellowed. Everyone turn around. With that command, all the recruits turned their backs to Chen Xiao in perfect unison, providing Xia Yudi with a sense of relief. Unfazed, Chen Xiao continued to carry her directly towards the largest villa, aside from those at the summit. The interior was exquisitely decorated, the cleaning completed in recent days, with all bedding and essentials in place. Once inside, Xia Yudi curiously surveyed her surroundings. The lavish decor of the house was magnificent, with a subtle fragrance wafting in from the back garden. The first floor comprised a living room, dining room, kitchen, and various functional rooms. Chen Xiao carried Xia Yudi into the elevator, ascending to the third floor. He then gently placed her onto the bed and leaned over her. Xia Yudi, with her delicate hands, cupped Chen Xiao's face and tenderly wiped the sweat from his forehead. Look at you, you're exhausted. Go take a shower, she urged softly. Chen Xiao replied, I am not particularly tired. It's just the heat. Hurry, I'll be waiting for you, Xia Yudi said soothingly. With a slight smile, Chen Xiao lifted her in his arms. Being alone can be quite dull, can't it? Before long, the sound of the shower echoed like a gentle stream. The ecological environment of Binlin was exquisite, with birds chirping melodiously in the woods. The rhythmic marching of individuals training filled the air, their sweat glistening under the scorching sun. Whenever Chen Xiao arrived at a new residence, he relished exploring every corner. He and Xia Yudi switched rooms several times, pausing briefly in each. Eventually, they found themselves in the esports room, where Xia Yudi squealed in delight. Wrapping her arms around Chen Xiao's neck, she weakly exclaimed, There's an esports room too. How wonderful. Chen Xiao was speechless, thinking she must indeed have some energy left if she was so interested in this. No, there is nothing left, she insisted. Only then did Chen Xiao relent, asking, Do you like it? Uncertain of what aspect he was referring to, Xia Yudi replied softly, Yes, I like it. Chen Xiao smiled. Pleased. If you enjoy it, we should indulge in it more often. Xia Yudi responded, Oh, let me take a break and see how we can decorate the esports room. I truly adore this place. Chen Xiao was at a loss for words. In such a vast villa, she seemed indifferent until she discovered the esports room, which sparked her excitement. This girl truly had a natural talent for being a gamer streamer, and with her charming voice, she could captivate audiences without even showing her face. Chapter 237. Our goal, 70% Chen Xiao and Xia Yudi were reveling in their time at the villa. Meanwhile, Pillar and others on campus were anxiously awaiting his arrival for class, having already consumed 2 cases of herbal medicine. Pillar, when the heck is that rascal coming to class? At this rate, I fear I might get poisoned. Every burp tastes like it, one complained. Pillar responded, How would I know when he LL arrive? But if we wait much longer, my friends will suffer from heat stroke. Wiping the sweat from his brow, Pillar acknowledged the truth in his subordinate's words. Waiting here, ISN, TA solution. Let us take turns. You all hold the fort while I rest for a bit, then I'll relieve you. The younger ones grumbled. Damn it, it's the hottest part of the day. By the time you're rested, it'll be cool again. However, they dared not voice their complaints too loudly, knowing they relied on Pillar. All right, Pillar, take a good rest. Keep an eye out, we can't miss our chance. Don't worry. At 3 in the afternoon, Chen Xiao gently placed the sweetly sleeping Xia Yudi onto the bed, covering her with a blanket. He then left the house to head down the mountain to the company. Today, the funds invested by Tengxiao Capital in the acquisition of shares from 46 steel enterprises had already surpassed 10 billion. The stock prices of these companies had, on average, risen by 1 percentage point. Chen Xiao encouraged his subordinates and, after listening to Su Tang's work report, concluded the day's tasks. He arranged for the company's chef to prepare a sumptuous dinner to be delivered to Xia Yudi's villa. Recently, Chen Xiao had no intention of venturing outside. His time was divided solely between the school and the company. He resolved to refrain from socializing until he dealt with a matter concerning Shi Zhongfu. ensuring he left no opportunity for his adversaries. In the following days, Chen Zhao's life continued in this manner. Xia Yudi had already moved her entire set of equipment into the villa. Each day was filled with gaming or accompanying Chen Zhao for workouts, making his days vibrant and fulfilling. Whenever the mood struck him, he would swim in the lake, jog through the woods, or occasionally host barbecues and music parties atop the mountain, each event a delight in its own right. In stark contrast were Zhuzi and his group, who had already suffered 3 casualties. The remaining members wore expressions of weariness, their spirits dampened, with sweat mingling with dust, leaving marks across their bodies. Zhuzi had long contemplated giving up, but under Shi Zhongfu's repeated admonitions to endure the solitude, he believed Chen Xiao, being a student, would inevitably attend classes. Yet, days had passed, and not only did they not see him in class, but his presence was entirely absent from the campus. In truth, Shi Zhongfu was merely speaking from a place of comfort. He lounged in air conditioning while indulging in distractions, thus remaining unperturbed. However, his leisurely days were short-lived, as a phone call abruptly instilled a sense of urgency within him. "Mr. Wang, how goes the matter with Chen Xiao?" he inquired, feeling a tension he had never experienced even in the presence of law enforcement. "It is in progress," he replied, his composure faltering. "Zhongfu, you have been quite effective in suppressing the stock price of the Ocean Group, but I am dissatisfied with the pace of addressing the issue with Chen Xiao. Rest assured, Mr. Wang, I will consider other strategies and resolve this promptly," he assured, though his heart was heavy with doubt. "Very well, I await your good news." With that, the call ended, leaving Shi Zhongfu with a troubled expression. For years, he had been serving the Wang family, who took the lion's share of the profits while he bore the burdensome tasks. Yet, he felt powerless, as the Wang family wielded considerable influence, controlling his very livelihood. "Damn Chen Xiao, hiding away in Binheyuan, what can I do?" he thought bitterly, knowing that Chen Xiao commanded over 1,000 specialized security personnel. If it were not for modernity, one could imagine him leading a rebellion. Curse those wealthy bastards. They truly possess vast fortunes. Shi Zhongfu cursed inwardly. The barriers constructed by Chen Zhao's wealth left him feeling as if he were a dog helplessly gnawing at a turtle, unsure of how to proceed. Though he had agreed to the demands with apparent ease, he knew that subduing Chen Xiao would not be a simple task. Time passed, and soon it was September 23rd. While Shi Zhongfu wallowed in despair, Chen Zhao's spirits soared. After a period of diligent effort, he now held shares in 46 publicly listed companies, amounting to over $55 billion in steel stocks. As the market opened today, a noticeable surge was evident, with all 46 companies experiencing varying degrees of significant gains. Throughout the process of building his portfolio, Chen Xiao had already secured a profit of 2 percentage points. As the day progressed, with a profit of 6 percentage points achieved by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Chen Xiao Capital reaped an impressive 8 points in total, translating into a staggering revenue of approximately $4 billion in a single day. Such earnings could easily sustain a team of over 1,000 bodyguards, and even allow for a tenfold expansion. Yet, this was merely the beginning. It was certain that at least another 6 points of profit awaited on the morrow. A smile, barely concealed, graced Chen Zhao's lips. Once, Shi Yunru had experienced the joy of 9 billion. Today, it was Xia Yudi's turn to share in this $4 billion fortune. At 1 in the morning, Xia Yudi, fatigue evident in her voice, lamented, "You rascal. Since I arrived here, I've abandoned my teammates several times. I hardly have time to play games." Chen Xiao chuckled, "Get some sleep. Games can wait. I'm not around often." Xia Yudi fell silent, playfully chastising him, her desire to rise and indulge in gaming thwarted by exhaustion, leading her to snuggle against Chen Xiao and drift into a deep slumber. The following day, upon waking, Chen Xiao gently removed the octopus-like Xia Yudi from his side, tucked her in, and stepped outside. The market conditions mirrored those of the previous day. However, by midday, a 6-point increase had already been achieved, reaching the limit of concealed information. Observing this, Chen Xiao decisively commanded a complete liquidation of assets, ensuring that it would not adversely affect industry stock prices, proceeding with caution. The traders swiftly began to offload stocks, resulting in a significant influx of capital. Chen Xiao noted that the stock price of Ocean Group had plummeted to rock bottom, a stark contrast to its former valuation in the hundreds of billions. Now, it appeared on the brink of collapse, inundated with negative information, causing widespread anxiety among its management team. Compounding the situation, previously scheduled film and variety show projects had been halted, leading many to speculate whether the company was doomed. Several executives had recently resigned, and employees were making their own plans. As news spread, confidence in the stock market dwindled. Those who had invested in Ocean Group found the atmosphere in their chat groups shifting dramatically. Bro, has Ocean Group liquidated? Liquidated? Not a chance. No one is stepping in. And even a slight fluctuation triggers a halt. Thank goodness I got out quickly. I heard the employees are all planning to leave. Indeed, I have a friend working there who says they're lining up to resign. Ocean Group's valuation had plummeted to $20 billion, and had it not been for its numerous physical cinemas nationwide, the situation would have been far worse. For Chun Xiao, this presented an extraordinary opportunity. Thank you. All of you. Thank you, Zhongfu, thank you. Ha ha ha. Wang Peng, Xiao Su, allocate all the available funds for acquiring Ocean Group. Our target is 70, and then we will initiate the delisting process. Chapter 238. Waiting for him, it was only at this moment that everyone realized the true intent behind the boss's apparent indifference and deliberate suppression of Ocean Group. He was not merely playing around, but rather had a comprehensive plan in mind. Such profound scheming. Indeed, that afternoon, the unfolding events would reveal the depth of his strategy. The shareholders of Ocean Group, who found themselves ensnared, suddenly discovered that someone had taken over the shares. Consequently, they began to hastily sell off their holdings. Without causing any disturbance to the stock price, Tongxiao Capital acquired a substantial amount of Ocean Group shares. On the third day, Tongxiao Capital issued an announcement. Our company has increased its stake in Ocean Group by 1 billion shares, now holding 70 of the company. We have submitted the necessary applications and will soon initiate the privatization delisting process. Trading is hereby suspended. The news ignited a frenzy in the financial markets. Ocean Group became the first publicly listed company in the country to voluntarily apply for delisting and enter privatization. Everyone was taken aback. What was happening? Had the owner of Ocean Group lost his mind? Was he purchasing a nearly bankrupt film and television group merely to promote a female celebrity? Yin Ziyuan received this news and was stunned for several minutes. Ocean Group was something he had reluctantly relinquished. He had envisioned reclaiming it from the financial market after completing his real estate endeavors. Yet, he never anticipated it would be privatized so swiftly by Chun Xiao. Yin Bingqin felt similarly. With Tongxiao Capital holding 70 of Ocean Group's shares and her possessing 20 along with a scattering of shares among retail investors. What was Chun Xiao up to? She immediately attempted to call, but received no answer. In Yindu, Wang Ju was equally astonished by the news. After a long pause, he finally processed the information. Had Chun Xiao planned this all along? Or was it an act of desperation driven by relentless pressure? If it were the latter, it was tolerable, but if the former were true, had he unwittingly aided him in achieving his goals? Wang Ju felt a tightness in his chest, akin to swallowing an egg whole, lodged uncomfortably in his throat, neither ascending nor descending, an unbearable sensation. Regardless of the reactions from the outside world, Chun Xiao was reveling in his success. He liquidated all his steel stocks, yielding a profit of 14. With an initial capital of 55 billion, he netted over 7 billion. After repaying the financing, he was left with 7 billion. The recent acquisition of a 50 stake in Ocean Group cost 10 billion. Yet he still retained 7 billion in cash. Coupled with the 20 stake he already held, Chun Xiao now controlled 70 of Ocean Group, which, at previous stock prices, was valued at 70 billion. Although its current worth had diminished, Chun Xiao remained unconcerned. He believed that through his subsequent maneuvers, Ocean Group would not only regain its former glory, but also ascend to new heights. The privatization process was rather intricate, but he had entrusted the professionals at his investment firm, Qianhu, to handle it, sparing himself any worries. Chun Xiao couldn't help but chuckle to himself. If Shi Zhongfu and his associates were aware that they had unwittingly assisted him in achieving his predetermined objectives, he wondered how they would react. After a moment's contemplation, Chun Xiao called Shi Zhongfu. He greeted him with a cheerful tone. Hello? Brother Zhongfu, thank you. Shi Zhongfu was utterly perplexed. Have you lost your mind? Why are you thanking me? Chun Xiao, unfazed, replied, I appreciate your help. Shi Zhongfu was taken aback. What have I done for you? Chun Xiao chuckled. You've contributed significantly to the privatization of Ocean Group, along with those behind you. Had you not suppressed the stock prices to such a low point, how could I possibly have the funds to acquire it entirely? Shi Zhongfu's breathing became heavy, nearly causing him to spit blood. In the domestic financial market, there had never been a case of a listed company voluntarily delisting. No one had anticipated that this scoundrel would resort to such tactics. Anger surged within him. His grip on the phone tightened, producing a sharp sound. Yet, he managed to suppress the overwhelming fury within and spoke in as calm a tone as he could muster. Hee hee, Don't just express gratitude verbally. If you are sincere, shall we meet? Chen Xiao was momentarily taken aback, his mind racing with thoughts. All right, but I shall decide the location. Shi Zhongfu had not expected such a swift agreement. Very well, go ahead. Chen Xiao replied, tomorrow evening at 6. I will notify you in advance. Farewell. Upon hanging up, Shi Zhongfu's expression twisted with rage. Chen Xiao, you have forced my hand. However, his impotent roar had no effect on Chen Xiao. After disconnecting the call, he hummed a tune while seated comfortably in his office chair, legs crossed, indulging in a leisurely smoke. At long last, his worth had reached a considerable scale. Once the privatization of Ocean Group was completed and its market value restored to its previous heights, Chen Xiao's fortune would double in value. Although his cash reserves had dwindled to a mere 5.7 billion, his total assets were nearing the trillion mark. Witnessing their boss's joy, Lin Yanran and her sister felt uplifted as well, and the entire office was imbued with a light-hearted and pleasant atmosphere. Yet wealth often breeds discontent. Chen Xiao was no exception. Yanran, have you worn that outfit before? As my secretary, you must avoid repeating outfits. Here, take this 100,000 yuan and buy yourself some new clothes. He continued, and isn't something missing from the office walls? Have Su Tang arrange for some exquisite paintings to be hung. The furniture is mismatched. Let us replace it all with mahogany. Why does this place seem so empty? We should get yacht to place inside. Life on Earth is dull. Perhaps we should consider a trip to Mars? Lin Yanran and her sister exchanged worried glances. Boss, are you all right? Lin Yanran inquired anxiously. Huh? I'm fine. What about you? Lin Yanran, looking confused, replied, I'm fine too. Chen Zhao's expression turned serious. If you're fine, then get back to work. Startled, Lin Yanran responded quickly, oh right, I'm on it. She turned, sticking out her tongue playfully, and exited the office. Chen Xiao chuckled softly. Teasing his little secretary brought him joy. If only Shi Zhongfu, that annoying fly, could be dealt with. The office fell silent, and after a moment of contemplation, Chen Xiao rose to leave. Meanwhile, Zhu Zi and the others were on the brink of despair. However, the sudden news of Chen Zhao's return to school nearly brought them to tears of joy. Wow, guys, that bastard is back. There's hope, Zhu Zi exclaimed. But what good does it do? Can he attend classes? Another replied. Of course. After gallivanting for so long, does he think he can just return and skip class? Does he own the school? Is the principal his father? A few of the younger brothers contemplated the possibility. All right, brother Zhu Zi, drink a few more bottles of Huoxiang Jingqi. I can still hold on. We'll wait for him. Chapter 239. A clean slate upon returning school. Chen Xiao instructed Lei Yong to make the necessary arrangements, ensuring everything was in place. Some specialized equipment was fine-tuned, confirming that no issues remained. The next morning, Chen Xiao descended to the bridge, dialing Shi Zhongfu's number. Hello, I'm waiting for you at the art building of Jining University. If you wish to discuss, come find me. Shi Zhongfu was taken aback. At Jining University? That's splendid. I'll be there shortly. Chen Xiao said nothing further and hung up the phone. Meanwhile, on both sides of the bridge leading to the art building, for reasons unknown, the mobile signal abruptly vanished, as if severed. A faint smile crept onto Chen Zhao's lips as he sat atop a stone lion at the bridge's edge, quietly smoking a cigarette. Zhu Zi, hiding in the bushes, spotted Chen Zhao's figure. Wow, he's here. Finally, that rascal has arrived. Everyone, get ready. On the other side, after hanging up, Shi Zhongfu immediately called Zhu Zi. However, to his surprise, the call could not connect. He attempted to reach several of Zhu Zi's followers, but all attempts failed. A sense of unease crept over him. Could it be that this fool had run off with the deposit? That seemed unlikely. He was not the type to be cunning. After pondering for a while without resolution, Shi Zhongfu decided to dismiss the thought and said to his subordinates, prepare your weapons. Whoever gets a job done, come forward, and I will ensure a life sentence. You'll be out in a decade or so. I have 10 million ready for you. Yes, boss. The three subordinates beside Shi Zhongfu were his most trusted aides. Upon hearing such a generous reward, their spirits soared. All right, let us move. Chen Xiao sat at the bridge, observing the bustling crowd, lost in thought. Approximately 20 minutes later, Lei Ting approached and whispered, Boss, they have arrived. Chen Xiao nodded, watching the approaching convoy, rising to cross over to the other side of the bridge. Zhu Zi and his gang were nearly beside themselves with excitement. The bastard is here. He's finally here. Stay calm. Stay calm.